Hello, YouTube community. I'm so excited that you're joining me. This is a new thing that I'm trying to do every Wednesday. So if you are around Wednesdays at 1 p.m., join me for live coaching sessions. You can actually send me comments and chat with me. I think there is a small time delay, but I will see your comments pop up on the screen and I will answer your questions about virtual assistants as they come up. Or if you just want to talk about your business, I'm happy to chat about those things. Hey, Deborah. Oh gosh. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to see you here. Your comments are such a joy. I cannot even tell you, every time I see you interact with the videos online, it brings me such joy. So thanks so much for visiting, and we can have a more like a conversation together, somewhat of a conversation together. So here's how. Oh, hey, another Deborah from Ohio. It's great to meet you. Um, that's funny. That made me laugh. I'm really excited, and I've got a couple. That's very small. I have a couple things actually pre-made for us today. And then what I love to do is have like a tip, a little pep talk, and then hello everybody. There's so many people joining. I'm so thrilled. So here's how today's gonna work. We're gonna do a little tip. We're going to do a little pep talk. And then what I love to do is always open these lives to questions. So if you have questions about your business, being a VA, struggles you're having with a VA, questions about clients, send them to me. We will talk through all of them. So first things first, I'll blast past this, but I have a program many of you may or may not be aware of. I have a program on my website called the VA Business Blueprint. It is a complete program to help new VAs establish their business. This was for something else I was presenting earlier today, but I just wanted to make people aware that this program exists. And I also have new curriculum up there about pitching. I talk about cold pitching, warm pitching, custom pitches. We're going to talk in this live today about custom pitches a little bit more and how you can use custom pitches to your advantage to win more clients. So let's just skip over that. Let's start talking about custom pitches. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about, this dress. And I actually genuinely want to talk about this like 3D dress here. So imagine that your business is a boutique store that sells clothing. I know that sounds crazy. We are virtual assistants, but just imagine for a second that you sell clothes. If you sold clothes that were like super generic, like you're like, oh, my clothes, they're really big. They fit every body, every type. Like you're trying to sell your clothes to everybody. And you're ending up disappointed again and again and again because you realize that people are not buying your dresses. And you're like, why? My dresses are great. I have wonderful clothing. It could be because you're trying to fit one piece of clothing to too many different people. Every person has a different body. We all look different. Not everybody is going to fit into your dresses. It is the same way if you are sending pitches or proposals for new clients. If you are trying to be a generic dress, you're trying to fit everybody, you run the risk of fitting nobody. It's too generic, it's too vague, it's not clear enough, or maybe you're just sending out a million messages where you're like, I'm a VA, hire me. I'm a VA, what do you need help with? Hire me, hire me, hire me, hire me. Those messages do not work. Instead, I want you to think of your business like you are making a custom dress. Now imagine a client comes to you and they tell you, I like the color blue. I am a size 7. I don't know. They're telling you their size. They're telling you the colors they like. They're telling you the length that they like. Then, only then, when you understand what your client is looking for, can you make a custom dress that really fits that person well. And then you know what's going to happen? That client is going to buy the dress. It is the same way with your virtual assistant business. If you can make your business so perfectly fit for this particular client, of course, they're going to be thrilled to hire you. So here are my tips to help you tailor your pitches to make them more customized to the people you are trying to pitch. The first thing is we want to tailor all of your pitches specifically to that client. So I want you, if you find somebody on LinkedIn, for example, who posts the message, I am hiring a VA, instead of you immediately messaging them like, I'm a VA, hire me. And I think you will notice that most comments on social media simply say, I'm interested or I am available, hire me. That does nothing for your business. It makes the client work too hard to figure out what services you do as a VA. How much do you charge? Where do you live? What hours do you work? That's way too much work for them. You need to tailor your pitches. So instead, if you see a note of a client looking for a VA, I want you to go to their social media profiles. I want you to go to their website. I want you to read every single post that this client is talking about. And I want you to ask yourself the question, what makes their business so interesting to you? Can you find one thing on their website that you find interesting? Can you find one thing on their social media that they've said that you think is interesting? And if so, tell them about that. Follow their social media and send them a message and say, hey, I see that you're looking for a VA. I've looked through your website and I really love the work you're doing at your business. Here's why. That kind of pitch already puts you at a much better position than the other people who are simply saying, I'm a VA, I'm interested. You're already making it more about the client and you're already proving that you've done research. You've looked into what makes this person, what are they working on? What business are they in? Why is this interesting to you? You will be amazed how many people don't do this kind of research. So if you can research your client's needs and relate it to your business, you are already making a more tailored dress or a more tailored pitch for this person. The next thing I want you to do is when you're researching about this person, their website, their social media, you're following them online. Also, if you're sending them a message about your business, make sure that you're adding a little bit of your personality. If you use a lot of exclamation points, put those into your pitch. If you use emojis, put an emoji in there. People hire people that they like. I mean, think about it. A client is not going to work with a VA that they don't like for years. They're going to be like, this person is not for me. And they're just not going to renew the contract. People like to work with people that they like. And so if you can do a few things, these are really going to help your pitches. One, if you can match their tone. Here's what I mean by this. Tone matching is this really awesome way to make a client think that you guys are connected, you're on the same page, that you really get them. Like if a client you see on social media who says, I'm hiring a VA, if you look through their social media and you notice, for example, that they have a dog, they have pictures of their dog, they're on hikes with their dogs. In your pitch, you can also say something like, I love dogs or cats or whatever it is that they're sharing. Maybe they travel a lot, whatever it is. You can also be like, hey, I love cats too. I have a cat. I'm blah, blah, blah. It's those little things that make you seem like a more real person, not just another name behind a keyboard, but a real living person with a business. And clients like to connect with people on a more personal level. So if you can do all three of these things, if you can tailor your pitches specifically to relate it to their business, their problems, their successes, if you can research their business and you can answer the question, what makes you the right VA for their business? And if you can add a little bit more of your personality into the pitch, into the message that you're sending them, these are wonderful ways that you can actually get hired and get the attention of the client. And I wanted to share this with you because this theory of tailoring pitches really works. There was a student who reached out to me a few days ago who had said to me, she was from Kenya, like many of you are joining from Kenya. And Kenya, I'm so excited to see you here. Same from Nigeria, Madagascar. So excited that you guys are joining today. But I wanted to let you know that this works. So here's what she did. This particular student had been sending generic messages. She had been sending messages like, just like, this is what I do. I'm a VA. And they were nothing specific to the client. They were just like, here are my services. Here's my email. Hire me if you want to. And she wasn't really finding any success. So it wasn't until she sent a proposal. She saw this video that I posted about tailoring custom pitches. She went back to the client's social media and website. She followed the client on all her social media pages. She sent a follow-up message saying, I'm following you. I looked at your website. I love what you're doing. And the client loved it so much that she got hired. So out of all the people on LinkedIn that were pitching this person, it was these extra efforts where she followed this person online, where she made it more clear that she was looking at the website, where she was interested in the work she was doing. She could make it more clear that her VA business was perfect for this client, and the client hired her. So if you're ever in doubt that this little extra effort, and it doesn't take much effort or time on your part, but if you can follow the client online, if you can engage with them online, if you can comment on other posts, if you can send them a message that's more specific to them, you're doing much better than many other people in this industry, because most people don't make those extra efforts. So that is my tip for you today. If you see a client hiring online, remember this dress allegory. You are a master tailor, and you are making your pitches just like you are making a custom piece of clothing. It is custom to the client. It is perfectly tailored to them. And you are the person who's going to deliver things that are important to them. And that goes a long way. So that's my tip for the day. And now I have a pep talk for the day because I'm going to tell you something very vulnerable. I have been a VA for 12 years. And in January of 2024, I had a real crisis of faith where I was feeling really bad about myself because I met another virtual assistant coach who's brand new. So me, I've been doing this 12 years. This man that I met started his business last year. And he talked to me because he wants to be a virtual assistant coach. So we were talking about just tips and sharing ideas and information. And he said to me, hired a team of 7 people to run my business. And I nearly fell out of my chair because my team is me, myself, and I. Just me. I've been working by myself for 12 years. And I was really upset, I guess is the right word, that this new person had already experienced so much more business growth than I had because he had a team. He had an operations manager to plan out all the operations of his business. He had a tech person to do all the technical needs. He had a video person to film himself and edit his videos. He had a social media person who posts everything on social media and runs his social channels. He has a writer who writes everything for him in his videos, and other like courses for other people. He has an email funnel person, and there's somebody else I'm forgetting, but it was a huge team of people. And I started to feel really bad about myself. And I thought, well, I don't have a team of people. And how can I possibly grow as fast as this man? And the answer is we can't. And it made me sad for many weeks. So I tell you this because I want you to know that working by yourself as a VA, many and most virtual assistants run their own businesses by themselves. And it can be very challenging. Because when you work by yourself, you often don't have other people to ask questions to, or you don't know if you're doing the right thing, or you don't know, if you need help, who do you ask? Or if you realize you need to learn a new skill like email marketing and you've never done it before, it's just on you. You have to do all these things. You wear many hats versus this other person who didn't have to learn email marketing. He just hired someone to do it for him. So While I'm happy for this person that he can afford to do that for his business, I cannot. So it made me think maybe I should have a little pep talk, not only for myself selfishly, but for everybody else that is watching today. I want to let you know that working as a solopreneur, working for yourself, by yourself, it can be very hard, but here's how we're going to turn this into something positive. The first thing is we all should focus on progress and not perfection. And I know you've probably heard that term before, progress, not perfection. But what I think is really helpful is to change some language. If you ever feel like you're saying, I'm not growing, or I'm not getting clients, or I'm not growing my business fast enough, can you change your verbiage and replace it with, I'm still growing? I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still finding new ways to find clients because I think this notion of progress is better than anything else. Feeling like I don't have, I can't hire a team. I can't hire a team. But flipping it and saying I'm still learning, I'm still growing, uh, sometimes it's just that, like, we can highlight our small wins. We can, I tend to overlook positive things in my business that are small. For example, good client feedback. If a client tells me thank you or gives me good feedback about something I did well, I tend to overlook them. Or maybe there's a new skill I recently learned, like I'm now teaching myself how to do better newsletters. That's progress for sure. It might be small progress, but they are signs of progress. So if you're ever feeling sad about where you are in your business, or you're feeling stuck, or you're having a moment of doubt, I want you to ask yourself, can you find small moments of progress? Are you working towards something in your business? And if so, I want you to celebrate it. I also want us to turn challenges into opportunities. So, for example, my example was it is hard for me to scale, which means it is hard for me to grow significantly by myself versus this other guy in the story I told you about who hired 7 people. So, can we turn phrases like it is hard to grow into other things like opportunities? Like, I have an exciting opportunity for expansion, for growth. So for me, really this last month had to think about, are there new services I could explore? Are there new partnerships that I could be exploring? Are there new people or clients or niches or industries that I can be looking to that I hadn't thought about before? Or even, are there new tools online that I could use? So I really had to think about, instead of just being like, it's hard for me to grow, which I did for a full month. I felt really bad about myself. I finally was like, okay, enough of the pity party. It's hard for me to grow by myself. What opportunities am I overlooking? And I'll tell you something exciting. By me just saying, what opportunities am I overlooking? It made me realize that there was somebody I could talk to. I ended up reaching out to a virtual assistant agency. So these are companies that hire virtual assistants and they match you with clients. And I reached out to one of these agencies and I said, could I be the person who trains your virtual assistants? And they are actually interested. So whether it happens or not, it might not, but we are currently in a discussion. And that discussion is a new opportunity for me. And it came from this place of me saying, how can I turn challenges into opportunities? So if you are feeling stuck as well in your business, ask yourself, what other opportunities are you overlooking? Or what other industries can you reach out to, et cetera, et cetera. New ways of thinking about our problems, basically. Number 3, we can all celebrate small wins because every completed project, every happy client is a reason to celebrate. And it is important to acknowledge our victories. It is really easy to overlook our own wins. I'll tell you another story. I'm being full vulnerable today. I because the last few weeks have been very challenging for me. I had a small win the other day. I had a small client win. It was not a big win. but it was a small win. And my initial reaction was to feel displeased. I was like, the extra little bit of money I made from that project is not good enough. I actually said that. I was like, it's not good enough. And then I realized that I was being a butthead. And by not acknowledging a win, no matter how small, I was not giving myself credit for everything that I'm trying in my business. I tried something new, it resulted in a small project. How crazy am I to not feel excited about that? Crazy. But it was my initial reaction to feel like, I'm feeling bad about myself because this other man that I talked to is growing so much faster than me. And then I realized, no, every win is a win. And I had to go and celebrate myself. And by celebrating myself, you know what I did? I bought myself a block of cheese because cheese is my ultimate celebration. So having my cheese and having my little drink, I was able to be like, okay, I did something new. It worked. That is a small sign of progress, and I should be celebrating myself. And turning it around made me feel much happier, made me feel less bad about myself. It made me feel less sad. Like I said, the past 6 weeks have been tough. But I also tell you this pep talk because working by yourself is challenging. There are going to be times that your business feels slow or that you feel uncertain. There are also going to be times that your business is booming and that you feel so confident about the things that you're doing. Okay. Absolutely nothing ever stays the same. So if you're having a hard time, just know that it will end. Just keep working diligently. And if you're having really great times in your business, celebrate those because one day that kind of prosperity might end too. Okay, things change; they ebb and flow. And anyway, I got off track to my own list. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys that I've learned in the last couple weeks is to prioritize self care. We all hear this term self care, self care, self care. I'm not talking about going to get a massage. You don't even have to spend money to enjoy self-care. I put this up there because there is this saying that I really believe, and it is you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are feeling so burned out and so tired and so dejected, you cannot possibly be your best self in your business. You cannot be your best virtual assistant for your clients. You cannot give your best work if you are so tired and empty inside. So if you can strive to find even one thing, one small thing a day that fills your emotional cup up a little bit more, I want you to do it. For me, it's eating cheese. I love cheese. For me, it's stretching in the morning. I finally started stretching again. And most importantly, it is going on long walks in nature. So on the weekends, I find parks, I find trees, I find water, and I walk through nature. That is enough for me to have a big goofy smile on my face and come back feeling restored, rejuvenated, happier. And because I feel happier, I'm now happier to work on my clients' work again. So if you are in a point in your business where you're feeling a little down, try to find ways that you can prioritize self care that helps you feel like a more fulfilled person. And it can be for free. It doesn't have to be something major, it doesn't have to be anything that you have to pay for. The next thing is to find a support network. Part of the reason why I'm doing these lives every week now is because I want to build a community where you don't feel like you're alone. Because when you work by yourself, it can be very easy to feel like you're constantly alone. You're making decisions by yourself, you're making choices by yourself. But I want you to remember you're never really alone. There are almost 30 people on this call right now, and we were all virtual assistants. We all understand what it's like to try to find clients. We all understand what it's like to have success and have struggles and try to figure out how much we're charging and what tasks we enjoy doing and what we don't enjoy doing. And if you can find a community online, whether it's with me or not, I'm certainly not the only virtual assistant who talks about businesses online. So if you can find a community or even a community of friends and family in person that you can vent to or share your successes with. It is really helpful to surround yourself with people who understand your journey and cheer you on. And ultimately, I want you to know that I'm cheering each of you on in your businesses and all of your unique challenges. You are not alone. I am here for you. Your family is here for you. And if you can find other business networks, entrepreneur networks, virtual assistant networks online. Sometimes just reaching out to those people can be enough to help you feel fulfilled or feel like you're not alone and get back on track. And then last but not least, and my face is hiding this, it says set realistic goals. And the reason I'm adding this to my list of two of how we can help be better solopreneurs is because we need to focus on sustainable growth, not overnight successes. Small, achievable steps do lead to big results. The reason I put this up here too is because if you listen to the story about the guy who hired 7 people, I could have a goal to hire 7 people, but I can't do that. That's not realistic for me. I do not have the time or income or opportunity to hire 7 people. So that is not a realistic goal for me. If I said I'm going to hire a team of people by next month, I will fail and I will fail hard. Instead, I have to set more realistic goals for myself that I can actually achieve. And so I asked myself recently, what am I not doing that I could maybe try to help grow my business in different ways? And I came up with the answer of a newsletter. So I'm trying something new. I'm learning a new skill. I'm learning how to make my newsletters more interesting, more helpful for the people who want to read them. And hopefully that will lead to some business growth. But it is a little more realistic for me to pick something that's small and actionable and achievable that I can actually do to help my business. So those are my, and I see a comment. Actually, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to pop this comment up here right now. I'm creating my portfolio so far. I can offer 4 skills. Absolutely. Those 4 skills, if they're part of your core services, that is fantastic. And you can always and should always strive to learn new things for your business because new skills mean new opportunities to work with new clients. New skills also mean new opportunities to charge higher rates because as you learn more, as you become a better VA, as you become a faster VA, your clients will benefit from your services and you can start to charge a little more money each time you take a new client on. Thank you. Seamless practice. I just saw really inspiring insight. I'm really glad to hear that. So those were my tips for the day. Tip about how to personalize your pitches, and then a little hopefully pep talk for how working as a solopreneur cannot feel so lonely, so isolating sometimes. I hope that this was helpful. If you guys missed the whole replay, of course, this video is going to live forever up on YouTube, so you can watch it from the beginning if you want. But something I like to do at the end of all of my live calls is just invite anybody to ask me questions about your business. So if there's something on your mind, if there's something you're struggling with, oh, I love this. Deborah, this is a really great comment. I think it's important not to fill our time with busy work that does not immediately transfer to billable hours. That is incredibly accurate. I'm so glad that you said that. It can be so easy for us as solopreneurs to, especially if we don't have either a lot of client or a lot of client work at the moment, to fill ourselves with busy work that don't necessarily lead to time. That's great. And actually, Deborah, I'm going to build upon this comment as well. If you find that you're just doing busy work that doesn't necessarily lead to money, you're just like doing stuff because you think you should be working, how can you transfer that busy work to looking for clients? Now, on my YouTube channel, there's a little, what is it? A magnifying glass? What is that icon? A little eyeglass? There's a little icon. It looks like a magnifying glass. Oh, it's a search bar. You can type into the search bar things like clients, finding clients, or specifically LinkedIn, clients on LinkedIn, because search. Thank you. Oh, I'm like a magnifying glass. I didn't even know what it was. So if I have a lot of videos on my YouTube specifically about how to find and pitch clients online. Do watch them. They have a lot of helpful tips for how you can like tailor your pitches to people because cold pitching is hard, but you're doing yourself a disservice if you're just like, I'm a VA, hire me, because that never works. Okay, this is a great question. How do you handle clients who only want VAs from a specific location? This is a wonderful question. And this is an infuriating question because I also feel annoyed when clients only want to hire somebody from a specific location. I totally empathize. Um, there was one time that I was living a couple years ago, I was actually living in Croatia and I had a client call with a client I really wanted to work with. And he was like, "Oh, if you don't live in the US, I don't want to work with you." Click. And I lost the client. And it was a huge bummer. So I do have some advice. My advice would be to assure them that your location really doesn't matter. It is more about the quality of work that you're providing. So if a client is a little on the fence because of your location, what I can say is that if you have some kind of verbiage prepared where you can be like, "Okay, I hear you. I understand your concerns. Let's try a trial period together where you get paid." So you could be like, "Let's try a month or 3 months of services together." I recommend 3 because the more time you have together to learn about their business and like, it takes a little time to learn, how like, what clients like, and it can take some time to grow that relationship. But you can say, "Let's try working together for a period of time, and if you find that my hours or my location, for whatever reason, are not working for you, then we will part ways." The reason I say that is because most clients will come to find that virtual assistants work doesn't need to be done like in the moment. It's very rare that I have a client who's like, "I need this thing right now." Most of it is like they'll give me a task and they're like, "I need this by next week, or I need this by tomorrow," or like whenever you can get to it. So in a trial period, you might be able to show them that your work is of high quality, that you're communicative, that you guys are able to, do emails together, or if your time zones allow for it, maybe you guys even find a time once a week where you have a video chat, a free Zoom chat, and you can touch base on what's working, what's not. I think they'll be so wowed by your work that they'll find that location doesn't matter. But that would be my first suggestion, is offer a trial period. The second thing I'll say is that you will always find clients. There will always be clients who are just dum dums who like only want VAs in a certain location. Those people, they're not your client, man. If they're giving you a hard time because of where you live, that is not the client you want to be working with. There are plenty, and I truly mean this. There are tons of clients all over the world. Like, I know plenty of American clients who have VAs that work in Kenya, in Nigeria, in the Philippines, in Vietnam, and they're perfectly happy. So yeah, that was my very long-winded answer to say offer a trial period and see how that goes. Okay, this is a great question too. What platform do we recommend as a new solopreneur for learning in 2024? I'm going to say YouTube, not only because I'm here on YouTube, but there are like 4 billion wonderful videos on YouTube. There are teachers across all industries and niches and experiences and expertise who share long form videos. So if you can find a person on YouTube who you like, do that. The second platform, so YouTube is great for learning. The second platform that I recommend everybody here get on is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really wonderful platform because it is global. And there are clients who are actively looking for VAs every day from all over the world. So LinkedIn is great because you can have a profile, sorry. You can have a LinkedIn profile that acts like a website. It has your picture, it has your headline, you're a virtual assistant. Maybe you add details about what services you provide. That can be really beneficial. And also, people on LinkedIn like to share tips. So you'll find lots of interesting business related information on LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn and YouTube would be the two that I focus on most, to learn. And thank you for your question. That was a really great question. Ba-bum, ba-bum. Yeah, that's sorry. Other people were giving me comments and I got distracted. So if anybody else has questions about their business, pop them into oh, this is a great question too. Um, I like your name, by the way. Is it Mashmallow? Mash, like a marshmallow? Well, if I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize, but I like it. It's very cute. How do you avoid phishing scams as a first-time VA? This is a great question. I have a video. If you go to my search on YouTube, I have several videos about how to avoid common scams, but we'll just run through a few right now. Um, if somebody offers you a job without interviewing you, like, for example, if somebody's just like, "You're a VA, I would like to hire you." That does not happen in real life. Real clients wanna meet you first. They wanna make sure that you're a real VA. They wanna make sure you're a real person. They wanna know what services you offer. They wanna talk to you. So if somebody's trying to offer you a job right away, that's not real. If somebody's trying to pay you a crazy high amount of money, that's not real. No one is gonna overpay you more than you are charging. If somebody's like, I've seen scams. I have had scams come to me where people are like, the pay is $5,000 a month. That's not real. That's too high. No client is ever going to be real clients are going to be like, how much do you charge? They're not going to offer money. Deborah has a very good tip, by the way. Pay attention to their email addresses. Yes. Most scammers are using even like a Gmail address. If I've seen this before where companies will reach out. So let's just say, for example, Apple wants to hire you, but the email is a Gmail address. That's not real. If you see any misspellings, if they have spelling errors, grammar errors, if the verbiage is kind of weird where, like a word doesn't quite make sense, probably not real. If they're offering to send you equipment, like if a client is saying like, I'm going to send you a laptop or a phone, that is not real because we are freelance VAs. We are technically business owners who are expected to have our own equipment. So no client is just going to be like, I'm going to send you a laptop so you can work for me. Not real. If they ask for your bank account information, if they ask for anything, like if you're in the US, you have a social security number, which has all of your, it basically is it is the number to find you. If they're asking for any important details about you before you've even talked to them, it's not real. They're usually just phishing. It's the same for if they're like, okay, we want to hire you, send us your address and your name and your birthday. Not real. So my best advice to you would be to say that real clients will connect with you on the phone or video chat. They will not offer you any extra money or things. They will not offer to send you checks ahead of time. Basically, real clients just want to know that you're a real person too. Because as much as we're afraid of getting scammed, clients are also afraid of getting scammed. And I want you guys to keep that in mind. This is a two-way street. So the more you guys can connect via video to be like, hey, we're both real businesses, the better it's going to be. So just keep that in mind too. Clients are usually scared that we VAs are also fake. So that's why I often say video chats are really good for interviewing, because emails, you can get scammed. Text messages, no way. You can get scammed. So I really recommend that you get on the phone with the person to make sure that they're real and that you can say that I am also a real person. Okay. This is a great question too. Effective strategies for maximizing productivity. Oh, well, utilizing a VA. Oh, that's a great question. Okay. Wait, I have a follow-up question. Are you hiring a VA and you want to know how to be productive? Or are you wondering how you can be the most productive VA you can be? And while I wait for you to type that in, I'll say effective strategies for maximizing productivity and efficiency. Okay. One thing that I really like to do for myself, and it's because I get easily distracted, is to put things into my own calendar. It helps me stay on track and also plan out my day. So I put everything into my calendar. Like I'll put, oh, I love it. The delegation blueprint. Yes. Okay. I'm going to pull that up in a second. So if you are asking me a question about how you can be, yeah, you're a VA, how you can be the most productive VA you can be, I would say if you get a task or a project, block off like more time than you think on your calendar. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say a client gives you a task that is researching restaurants in their city. If you think that that will take you 1 hour, I want you to actually multiply that by time and a half. So I want you to put either an hour and a half or 2 hours into your calendar. Seriously, block off that time from like noon to 2. It's called time blocking. And what this helps you do is it creates a deadline for you. So you'll be like, okay, I have an hour and a half to work on this. You'll be like, okay, I need to focus. It's deep focus work where you're just working on this one task. And then when your time's up, you stop. Hopefully, you're at a good stopping point. You send that information to the client. If you don't time block, like if you just, I don't know, time blocking is really effective because it allows you, like, let's say you have multiple tasks. You can actually put time into your calendar to do all of those tasks. And it helps you see how much time you actually have. So we humans are terrible at predicting how much time we actually have for things. Like we're all universally bad at it. We all universally think we have more time in our day than we do. So if, for example, you have a client who sends you 10 tasks and you're like, I will do all 10 today, the chances of that happening are very low because you probably have not only less time to do those tasks than you think you do, but you also have a personal life. You might have kids. You might have to get your kids from school. You might have to make dinner. You might have to go for a walk. You might have to take your dog out. There's always things that are happening in your day that detract from work. So by time blocking on your calendar and putting tasks into your calendar, you can look at your day and be like, okay, from 9 to 10, I'm going to do this task. And then from 10 to 11, I'm going to do this task. And then from 11 to 12, I'm going to do this task. And then from 12 to 1, I'm going to eat. Like put all that in your calendar. Time blocking is going to be this really awesome visual tool to really make sure that you're maximizing all the time that you have in your day. I hope that was helpful. That was my best suggestion. My favorite strategy for efficiency is time blocking. And if you're just like, I hate that idea, try something even easier. Put a timer on your phone or Google has a timer. You like just Google timer and Google will pull it up. Have a timer somewhere with an alarm and set a time to work on a task. Maybe it's an hour. And when the alarm goes off, try to wrap up where you are. So if time blocking is just not for you, you could also try working by alarms. That could also be a strategy for you. Here's a good question. Thanks for asking this, Peter. When a client gives you a task, what would be the ideal time to submit it? This is a great question. My first suggestion for everyone when a client gives you a task is to, if the client has not given you a deadline, you can ask them, like just reply to the email and say, I received the task. When do you need this done by? They might, then the client will usually tell you. They'll be like, oh, I need it by the end of the day, or oh, tomorrow, or oh, next week, whenever. So I find that your first action should always be asking the client when they need the task back. The second thing we can do is so I have a tip within the tip. We virtual assistants, our clients don't see us. So they don't know when we're working or when we're online. They blindly email us tasks and then they're kind of like, I hope they got it. What I try to do is answer my clients within a 2 to 3 hour window. So I don't check my email constantly, but I try to check it in the morning, in the afternoon, and then around 4 or 5 when I'm wrapping up my day. And if I see that somebody has sent me a task or a project, hopefully I get to it within 2 to 3 hours of them sending it. And I simply say, I received your task. I'll start working on it, or received, I'll get this back to you by the end of the day. Sometimes clients just want acknowledgement that you have received a task. But I think, Peter, your question is more specifically, what's the standard turnaround time? Always ask when your clients need it, because worst case scenario, if your client expects it the same day and you're like, I'll do it tomorrow, that is a mismatch, and it's very easily avoided just by having that extra conversation and asking them when they need the task by. So that's always the first thing I do. If they don't give you a time, like Peter, let's just say your client is like, turn this in whenever you can. I hate when people say that because usually I'll wait too long. I'll be like, oh, I'll do it next week. And we all run the risk of forgetting about it. So, personally, just as a personal note, I try to do tasks. If I can't do it by the end of the day, I'll try to do it the next day. So, I try to do everything within 24 hours, within reason. If somebody gives you a crazy long project, it might take you longer, but that's my rule of thumb. And I hope that was a helpful answer. Whew. I appreciate your questions. These are really good questions. And hopefully these are helpful too. I'd like to keep doing these every Wednesday. So I've almost kept you here for an hour. So oh, another question. Yay. Okay. If a client always makes you do overtime, ooh, but no overtime pay. Oh, that sucks. That just sucks. That sounds like a bad client. Okay, if a client always makes you do overtime but doesn't pay you, how do you handle it? Client gives last minute tasks at the end of your time. Oh, I hate that. I've had clients like that and they're the worst. I'm sorry that you're dealing with this. I am. Um, I do not like working with those clients because it says to me that they are very disrespectful and do not respect your business or your boundaries. So, I have a couple suggestions. Yes, this is great. I was just gonna say this. So thank you for popping this suggestion up. Gentle reminder of business hours. I could not agree more. The first thing I do if a client is constantly like last minute, last minute, last minute. Like for example, my hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. where I say to clients, you can send me things after 5 o'clock and I'll get to it the next business day. That's just how I run my business. So I also had a client who would send me things at like 6 p.m. and be like, I need this now. Or he would send me things at Saturday night at midnight. I am asleep, sir. So I constantly had to send him reminder emails just saying, hey, I received your task on Saturday night. It's Monday morning during business. I'm just seeing it as a reminder. I am online and looking at emails between 9 and 5. If you send me anything outside of my business hours, I will get to it the next business day. Sometimes it is as simple as you sending the client a reminder that you have boundaries and you have business hours. However, the other thing about clients making you work extra but not paying you extra, I have more questions about that. So if you can give more answers as I'm asking you, if you can type them in, that would be helpful. Because okay, so let me ask you this. Are you charging an hourly rate? Or are you charging a flat fee, but you're actually working more hours, so you're technically not getting paid for that time? Depending on your answer, it will change my answer, so I'm curious to see what you type in. Um, I think there's a time delay, so I'm just gonna give a second to see if your answer comes in, but, in the meantime, I suppose I can just talk a little more about this. If you are charging an hourly rate, then you should absolutely, no matter how much the client is giving you, you should be tracking each minute, each hour. Oh, monthly, that's great. I also do monthly flat fees, which I love. Okay, so I would say okay, this has actually happened to me before. A client ends up sending me more work and it's going over our monthly allotted hours and I end up working more. Um, it was mostly just we had to have a conversation. So instead of an email, this kind of conversation does better if you can swing a video chat, do that. Because I think your client has less of an opportunity to just be like, oh, no. It's harder to be like, no, I'm not going to pay you for the work you're doing face to face. So my first recommendation is have a phone call, tell the client you want to talk about just a reiteration of your boundaries, your hours, and also your rates. So you can say something like, I love working with you. I'm loving the work you're giving me. I've noticed recently that we've had a couple extra additional hours that are going over your allotted time. there's a couple options you can do here. One, you can simply say, from this point forward, every additional hour, I work above your allotted time, you're going to get charged for based on my hourly rate. So, I don't know how you come up with your monthly fees. For me, I come up with my monthly fee by taking an hourly rate and multiplying it by the hours that they work per month. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. But if a client goes over their allotment, I simply say, okay, we're going over, like we're coming to a close of your allotted hours, and anything over will be charged, you know, whatever your rate is, $30 an hour extra. Um, Actually, this is wonderful, and this is so good. I'm so glad you shared this. Thank you so much. I send reminders when they have 5 hours remaining in your package and it's time to be refreshed. This is a great tip. I'm so glad you said this, and I completely forgot about it. So thank you for refreshing my own memory. Um, Something that I will do in the include in the comments is I have an end of the week email report. It's a script. I will share it with all of you guys. What you can do is every Friday, for example, send an email to your client that says, this week we did this, this, and this task. You used 8 hours of your allotted time this week, meaning you have 20 hours left. It just kind of spells it out for the client so that each week they can see how much time they have left. You might find that that is enough for the client to be like, okay, I only have, X number of hours left. I'm not going to go over. But if they consistently are going over, I did mention you could do a couple things. One, you can just tell the client for every hour they go over, you're going to charge them your hourly rate. Your second option is to say to the client, I have noticed in the last few months that you have gone consistently over your allotted time. I suggest that we bump up your flat allotment by like an extra 5 hours or an extra 10 hours. What that does for you is that puts more money in your pocket because your flat fee just becomes higher, and you don't necessarily need to worry about working additional hours and not getting paid. Personally, that is what I would try to do. I would say to the client, you've gone over for the past few months. I'm bumping up your hourly allotment. Like your new rate is going up to this based on this many hours. If that feels uncomfortable, definitely do, or maybe do both, but definitely do it what this person at Seamless Practice Solutions is saying, where you send them reminders, or where you say like, hey, you're coming to an end of your allotted hours. So either wrap up work and we'll start fresh next month, or pay me more money. So as a reminder, when this video posts, I'm going to share in the comments my script for the end of the week report that has the hours, so that you guys can use it. So you can send it to your own clients, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. Whew, hopefully that was a helpful answer as well. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are asking just phenomenal questions. And also, this community has phenomenal answers. Everybody has amazing answers in the comments section. And to Deborah, to your point too, keep your boundaries, your game, your rules. This is absolutely right. I will end this live with this. I like to think of my business like a gym. I know I've given you so many allegories today. I'm like, think of your business like a dress shop. And now I'm like, think of your business like a gym. But really, think of your business like a gym. If you have a gym membership, it usually means you are paying a flat fee to use the facilities. The gym does not care if you actually use their machines or not. They are still going to charge you for their services. It is really up to you to use their machines. We are the same way. If you're charging a client a flat fee, you should be getting paid whether the client uses all your hours or not. And if your client is using too many hours, it is time to either increase your monthly allotment or charge them an additional hourly rate. But I love this. Your game, your rules. You are a business, so it is absolutely your rules. And if a client is not willing to listen to your boundaries or your rules, then they are not a good client. And my suggestion there is to try to get different clients and enough clients until you can finally drop the bad ones. So I know. It's a whole thing. Maybe next month we'll talk about next month. Maybe next week we'll talk about how to fire bad clients because that's always fun. It feels really nerve-wracking, but it's really important part of business to learn. Well, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me for a full hour. I talked your ears off. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This was really fun. This was the first live series that I'm doing on YouTube. So I'm excited to keep this going. I think it'll be really fun, and I think we'll be able to grow a pretty fun community. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully the tips were helpful. I really appreciate all of you in the comments who are commenting on other people's questions. This is like the VA community is such a beautiful, helpful community. I'm so excited because we're all in this together, and this is one of the most helpful communities I've ever been a part of. It's like everyone wants to see everyone else succeed, which is certainly how I feel. So thank you all. Very much appreciate you all watching. Very much appreciate all of your comments and questions. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Oh yeah, and thanks for reminding me. I will be putting the script up shortly. Thank you very much. We are not alone. Love to you all. See you next week.